Totes Recall.
Welcome to Totes Recall, the podcast where we talk about a movie we can't remember very well. Some of us eat some number of pizzas and or salads, come back after we've watched the movie, and talk about it again with new information and new feelings. My name is Dan.
This is Molly.
I'm also Dan.
And I'm Beth.
And our movie this episode is The Big Lebowski.
Hey,
Ooh.
la 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 la
la.
Is that the theme
la
song?
la la la.
That's a
La
song.
la la
It is
la
a
la. There's a lot of good songs in this movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hot bet out the gate. Great soundtrack.
Great soundtrack.
Kenny Loggins in there that I really like.
Nice.
Whoa.
There's a Hotel California, but it's like a fast version.
Oh yeah, it's like a mariachi band, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
good stuff.
You remember a lot of stuff about this movie.
Full disclosure. When I was at the age that I identified something as my favorite movie, this was it.
And
Nice.
what
Yes.
age was that? I'm just curious.
Well, I first saw it in college.
Yeah.
Maybe you've heard of it.
Yeah.
Where it was like, hey, we're going to watch The Big Lebowski on DVD on someone's computer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's college.
I'm pretty sure you're describing like most college age white dudes of your age
Yeah.
group.
So this would have been the
Specifically
year-
this movie, not even just we're going to watch this DVD on my computer. Like specifically we're going to watch
Yeah.
The Big Lebowski on my computer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was the year 2000. And I was like, I don't know about this movie, but I'll watch it. What else am I doing?
Right. Yeah.
And-
the classic college social graces of
Okay,
I've got
it's
nothing better to do.
across the hall. And I loved it. I loved it so much, and I watched it a lot that year. And it will be annoying to hear me say this, but it may have been when I started appreciating film,
Oh,
Whoa.
boy.
Oh,
because it was maybe the first time I was like, oh, filmmakers like do a thing that is specific to them,
wow.
and like that's cool.
Yeah. So this is what turned you on to like the auteur theory of filmmaking.
I guess, yeah.
All right. All
This is
right.
by the Coen Bros.
CoBro.
And I just want to pause here because I think it's really interesting in that this is a movie I feel like people watch multiple times who really love it. And I have a friend in Atlanta named Scott who, during his first year of law school, the way he got through, he didn't have regular TV or streaming service or anything like that. He had a VHS of The Big Lebowski. And so every time he got a break, he would just hit play and then stop it at the end of each break. And by his estimate, he watched that movie about 40 to 60 times.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And I can't like wrap my head around whether that means he had lots of breaks or not very many breaks in
Right.
a year.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
It's
a great
both-
point.
A lot of time and not very much time for a full year.
It's a vague
Yeah.
unit of measurement
Yep.
for sure.
Lebowski's.
And yeah, 40 to 60 is pretty extreme, but I feel like most people I know who like this movie have seen it like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, my brother once informed me that this movie was ruined for him when his college roommates would just always be watching it.
Yeah.
And now he's just like, yeah, I have no reason. Like, he's like, I liked the movie, but now I can't stand the movie because it's just been, it was background noise for like half of my college days. I was just going to ask how confident Molly is that she's actually seen this movie.
Okay, yes. This one I have definitely seen. I think I've seen it twice.
Okay.
And the most recent time was probably 10 years ago. And at that time, I developed a theory. I don't know if we're ready for that, but I have a theory about this movie.
I love
I
All
it.
think we're ready
right.
for
Go
it.
for it.
Okay. Past, present, future. That the 3 main characters represent those things. I don't know if this is a theory that's unique to me or not, but John Goodman is always talking about the past. The dude is very much in the present at all times. And Steve Buscemi, is that the third guy?
Walter, yeah.
Always future
Right,
oriented. Yeah.
Interesting.
But I don't know.
Donnie
Donnie.
is Steve Buscemi.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
Okay.
He's out of his
Yeah.
element because he's in the future, maybe.
Oh.
Maybe. I feel like that's the weakest one, but I feel pretty
Well, then
strongly.
he dies too. Spoiler alert.
Whoa.
That's
Yeah.
what happens in the future.
That's true.
I-
You die.
I
Spoiler
remember
alert, also
that.
for life.
I remember that the rug holds it all together, the robe and the toe.
Do you want
That's-
to?
I
Is
thought
that
you
your
were gonna do
entire
third
summary of the
R.
movie?
Yep.
You want
Rub
to?
rug toe.
You want to even
Yeah.
try to put a plot to that, like a spine of any kind of plot to that?
Oh, there's a crime. Somebody
Uh-huh.
takes his rug.
Uh-huh.
He's real upset, and
Uh-huh.
it's like a drug kingpin or something.
Okay.
And then either related or separate from that, there's an abduction by some, I don't know, Eastern European people potentially. And they kidnap a wealthy person's, well, they're both wealthy, the wife of someone who's powerful and wealthy. And in the end, it turns out, is it okay if I spoil this movie? I guess people have seen it. It turns out that she was never abducted. She was just like on a vacation.
Whoa.
That's pretty
Does that
good.
seem right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That
Oh, and
sounds
there's
very right.
bowling and a very iconic moment with bowling. You're welcome.
I love it.
John Turturro polishing his ball.
I guess so.
I mean, there's a
yeah.
lot of DVDs moments in this movie.
There's a lot of
for sure.
DVDs.
Yes.
Now that we're just like name dropping the cast pretty heavily, I'm just gonna throw out a hot bet that literally every member of this cast absolutely crushes it in this movie.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like I feel like everyone from the smallest random character that enters this film just like nails whatever it is they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I mean you got a pretty early Philip Seymour Hoffman, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Julianne Moore. This is the first time I really appreciated Julianne Moore, and then became a big
Jay Moore.
Jay
Yeah.
Moore head.
You wanted more of Jay Moore?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did.
Tara Reid is in it.
Terry
Is that true?
Pratchett.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
She's
she's
Bunny.
bunny.
Right.
Yeah, the cast is incredible. This movie's incredible. Coen Brothers movies are amazing, and I love all of them. And I've seen them all, but I know Dan has also seen them, so I'm
You're
not
even
even
gonna-
giving
you're
you
not
the
even gonna bring it
pleasure
up?
of saying
You're not even going to bring it up? Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
also seen them all.
Yeah.
This is probably the first movie that I saw that I absorbed. Like, I can't remember if I'd seen Fargo already, but this was definitely the first movie that I saw that I was, like, aware that it was a Coen Brothers movie. And I was like, oh, I guess I like the Coen Brothers deal. Like, whatever their deal
Yeah.
is, I guess I like it. And then I saw some of their earlier movies, and I was just like, oh, there's usually way more crime in. And this movie's just kind of goofy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the first Coen Brothers movie that I saw. I saw this at a boy's house.
Beth.
was in high
Go
school.
on.
Beth.
It was like a co-ed gathering, but it was like I think one of the first times that I had like been like that I hung out with like a group of boys.
Were they cool boys or dumb boys?
They were fine.
Or Hot
No.
Boys.
Or the
They
hot
were
boys?
just-
I mean, oh, I see what you're saying. Cool or hot?
Um,
I mean, they
cool,
were
hot, dumb.
they were pretty. I mean, aren't all teenage boys pretty
yes.
dumb?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
They're
they are.
pretty dumb.
Did
Yeah,
they
when I
come
look
up to you in the
back on it-
hallway or just like, hey, Beth, I got this on DVD. I'm going to put it in my computer. If you want to come over, I don't know.
I got some inflatable furniture. Some,
Got
actually-
that was big. That was
I don't
big.
even
got some
remember-
Totino's party pizzas. I'm gonna throw in the oven.
Oh, Beth, it's fine either way.
If you don't want to come, it's cool. I know you're busy. Like
We're
doing,
gonna drink White Russians, but
Not
virgin
really.
White Russians.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
It's just milk.
It's just milk. We'll be drinking milk.
Oh, I know you're probably busy doing the band and being nationally honored, but if you want
Yeah.
to come over,
And you're swimming so good. Beth. Oh my god! I gotta go to Beth.
just sweating, just sweat pouring down his head.
I don't remember it happening
Any
that
of
way.
that happening? Okay.
No, I feel like I was more of like, I want boys to like me. Please
Yeah.
like me so much. I'm gonna watch this movie with you.
Yeah.
But then I ended up really liking it, and then and then I went through and watched all the Coen Brothers movies because like
Without the
then
boys?
without the boys, because
Ooh,
I
take that,
found-
boys.
I didn't know until about that time that the Coen Brothers were from the same city that I'm from, and so
Ah.
in all the movies there's like a little like Minnesota or St. Louis Park
Mm-hmm.
like shout out, and so that was kind of fun to watch for. I don't remember what. I'll have to look out for it.
You're telling me there's a
No.
Minnesota or St. Louis Park shout out in this movie, The Big Lebowski?
I mean, probably somewhere.
Takes place in
Right.
Los Angeles, California.
Yeah, I mean, like
Sure, someone gonna
in
have a
the,
mug.
I think it's in the Hudsucker Proxy.
That's a good one.
Like when all the kids, there's a scene where all the kids run out of the school, and the school that they run out of is called Cedar Manor, which is a St. Louis Park school. So there's just like little like things like
okay.
that.
Little
Yeah.
Easter eggs.
Easter eggs.
I
Yep.
see.
Well, we will count on the original cinephile, Beth, to
Ooh.
identify those for us.
Oh.
Wow.
Wow, wow, wow,
Wow.
wow.
Wow, wow, wow.
I'll keep my eyes
Um,
peeled.
This is also, I think, the movie. I think this was the movie that I think people of my generation were to learn that, like, Jeff Bridges is, like, kind of a goofy dude. Because I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of the other movies he was in around this time were much more earnest. Like, he'd
Ghost Camp.
play more, like, serious dudes, you know, around this time. And then in this movie,
Yeah.
he's, like, much more goofy, which he was, like, pretty goofy when he was younger. Like, some of his when he was, like, earlier movies, like, he's sort of just, like, kind of, like, proto-dude. I mean, he himself, as a real person, is basically the dude with, like, more ambition.
Yeah.
So,
Two fun facts and or urban myths about this movie that I know. One, Jeff Bridges almost didn't do this movie because he was not a pot smoker and was worried about being such a stoner, and like asked his mom if it was cool.
what?
And then also, because he's such a professional, before most takes, he would ask the Coen brothers, "Do you think the dude smoked one before this scene?" And they would say yes. And then he would rub his knuckles in his eyes to like redden them up.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
I love
Actually,
it.
I have a funny Coen Brothers and pot story.
please.
So we probably won't watch A Serious Man for Totes Recall, but that's another Coen Brothers movie, and that takes
Seen it.
place in like a St. Louis Park-esque town, and so
Yeah.
they did a lot of the casting locally. And one of my brother's friends is in the movie. He's like the kid's best friend.
Did he sell weed to the Coen brothers?
I wish he did.
Oh.
But they there's a scene where they get high in the bathroom at school, and so the Coen brothers had to teach them both how to hold it, like, you know, with their pinky and what is this, pointer and thumb, instead of like you would hold a cigarette, because they both were holding it like old timey cigarettes.
Yeah.
And so I just think that's a really funny story that the Coen brothers taught him how to smoke pot.
Aw,
Cute.
it's awesome. Hey, what year do we think?
Ooh, boy.
We know pre-2000.
Right. Dan.
I'm going to say 99, my favorite movie year.
Yeah. I'll say 98.
I'm also going to say 98.
I'll say 97 to keep it spicy.
Yeah.
Very
love
spicy.
That's a hot
Spicy.
tamale.
it. Ooh,
Is that a
Dan's.
thing?
Mamma mia.
That is a spicy meatballs.
I got it. No, we all got
People
it.
say hot tamale. People
yeah.
say hot tamale. Tamales are hot. They're
Tamales
steamed
can be hot.
like crazy
Yeah.
in that big pot.
And you can spice them up depending on the recipe.
They're also
Oh,
a good
yeah.
movie candy.
Oh.
that hot tamale.
I mean, those ones are for sure hot in the sense that they're flavored in a way to be.
That is hot.
So the Big Lebowski, they mostly don't. I think they mostly just eat. Do they eat anything? Does anyone eat in this movie, or are they just drinking?
They just drink.
They're White Russians.
I don't know. I can't picture any food.
Like, is Donnie eating something at the bowling alley or anything?
They have to be
Someone's
eating
eating
something.
fries at some point.
Okay, sure.
Let's bet someone's eating fries.
Great, I love
There's
it.
a moment when John Goodman and Jeff Bridges are sitting at a bar,
Okay.
and John Goodman is like, "Do you need a tow? I can go get you a tow right now." Right?
Oh.
And I think he's eating something in that
Nice.
scene.
Okay. And people order lingonberry pancakes.
Oh, right, they eat.
That's
yeah.
got to be the nod.
The
German
Europeans. The
nihilists.
Europeans eat. Yeah, Germans. Yeah, the German nihilists.
Oh, they're German. Cool.
I think so. I don't know.
Hollywood
we'll find
German.
out. I'll let you know if that's German or not.
Wow.
She would
This
also
is
have
exciting.
the lingonberry pancake.
Yeah. Dan's bet. I will get way more of the references to the first Gulf War in this movie at this age than I did when I saw it as a teen.
Oh, yeah. That was another theory I heard, that it was about the Gulf War somehow.
Great.
An allegory. It was
Sure.
allegorical for the Gulfical
Oh my God.
War.
Oh
Oh,
my God.
wow.
You should
Beth,
have.
edit that to make it sound
You should've
really cool and clever.
I don't know if it's possible. I'm just kidding. I feel like there's a lot of things that I'm gonna understand more and enjoy more now.
Yes.
Especially like I was very uncomfortable with anything sexual. That was because I was at a thing with boys.
Right.
And I was like, this is very. I think are there boobs in this? Yes.
Are there what?
Are there boobs?
Boobs.
Oh, boobs. I thought you said boots.
Yeah.
People wearing boots
Aren't
in
there
this?
boobs in the dream sequence?
I think
there's-
I think in the dream
there's-
sequence.
I think there's some nudity. I think there's
Okay.
what?
There's a sketch of a dude with a giant dong.
Okay.
Still,
Ew.
Dan's bet.
Any
Hold on.
nudity
Real
made
quick.
me very uncomfortable.
Real quick. Dan's bet. That joke that Dan just referenced will probably still be my favorite joke in the entire movie.
It's really good.
All right. Sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I do remember that there was some. I mean, I think it was nudity because I was like, oh my god, this is very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That we're all in the same room watching this at the same time.
Were there other? Were you the only non-boy?
No.
Okay.
Co-ed party, she said.
Yeah, but that. I mean, there's no like threshold other than one.
That's
I
true.
got what she's laying down. There's mixed
Fine.
multiples of both.
Do we? Speaking of boobs, do we think this will pass the Bechdel-Wallace test?
Oh my god, that is the worst transition of all time.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, all we know about
Who's
this movie is that Julianne Moore's in it and someone with boobs is also in it. Do they talk to each other?
I think it will because I think so Bunny is with the nihilist, right? Nihilist.
I don't think so. I think they
No,
think
'cause
she's
she
with the
kidnapped
nihilist.
herself.
Yeah.
Oh, she's just on a vacay.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe not. Are
With
there
a boy.
okay? So and then it's like there are three of them, and two are men, and one is Amy Mann.
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
yeah, that is Amy Mann.
Yeah.
Is it?
Cool.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I don't know if
they're gonna
Julianne
be-
Moore has, like, an assistant.
She has an assistant.
Okay.
She has that dude that
And she
she's
might-
cackling about music with.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm gonna say yes.
I'm going to say no.
I'm also going to say no.
Oh, I would want to. I'm going to say yes purely out of love for Beth and hope.
Wow.
'Cause, yeah, I don't know, man. And I feel like that was part of the reason I came to this movie pretty late is because it felt like such a dude-heavy movie.
Mhm.
Like
and
it
I'm
was
sure
for
the
dudes.
culture around it didn't
Yeah.
help sway you from that perception.
Exactly. And the more like amped up white dudes got about it, the
Yeah.
less amped up I felt. So
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. This is a big white dude energy movie.
And
I
like,
am, well, maybe it's the second half thought, but I'll preview it for now.
ooh, teaser.
I wonder if this movie is at all parallel, but maybe lesser than, in the same way that like Fight Club is like a good movie, but terrible people like it.
Mhm.
Is The Big Lebowski also like a good movie that there's terrible people that like and connect with?
I don't know. It might just be. We can talk about this more in the second half, but it might just be like. It might not necessarily be as terrible people as like get into Fight Club too hard. It might just be like annoying people.
Yeah, like a different
Yeah.
kind of bad people like connect with this movie.
I mean, there are
know.
definitely people who quote it too much
Mm-hmm.
or like kind of try to take on the dude's persona. They're
yeah.
like, I'm gonna be the dude now.
I see. So the dude is the Project Mayhem of this movie.
Yes.
Basically, like
Yeah.
white
It may
dudes.
have been 70% of my friend group in college.
Yeah.
We're really trying to lay down some dude vibes.
Right. Like, so basically, like 20-something white dudes take the wrong message from the movie and try to emulate the wrong part of it. Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm gonna drink White Russians now.
And just not
Yeah.
give a shit.
And get like one of those carpet-y.
and say
hoodies.
stuff like the dude abides.
Yeah.
I've
Drug
heard that
rug.
plenty.
Ooh,
Oh, good.
fun. This is a fun game that we should try to play when we watch the movie because I remember this being a thing. We should try to keep track of how many times the dude says a line that is someone else's line. Like, there's definitely moments in this movie where he's so lazy that he just repeats something that he heard someone else say
Oh, yeah.
to, like, try to make a point and sound smart.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
There is a supercut of every time that they say fuck in this movie.
Okay.
And it is like 3 minutes long.
Is it mostly John Goodman?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's
Talking to Donnie.
best bet he
He-
swears up a storm.
God, he is amazing in this movie. Like, it's so funny because, like, you think about, he's another one of those guys where, like, around the time, at least in his career, I feel like most people were just like, oh yeah, he's the dad from Roseanne, right?
Yeah.
Like he pops up in other stuff, but like I feel like this was like the first time in that era of his career where he was just really just like this incredibly, like he really used his mass in that way, you know what I mean? Because he's done that in other movies where he sort of like exploits the fact that he can be a very intimidating presence if he chooses to be.
Yeah.
But he doesn't always play a character like that. But in this one, it's very much just like, oh, this dude is just like a ticking time bomb that could crush you with his bare hands.
He does that a lot. That's like a common CoBro mo.
What?
What?
Try
Coen
again.
Brothers move.
Okay. A giant
John
dude?
Goodman. John Goodman.
Oh.
He's what? He's like the Cyclops in
Yeah, he's
Oh Brother,
an
We're Out
almost-
There. Isn't he like? Is he like the devil in Barton Fink? Am I getting that wrong?
That movie I don't remember.
Molly,
that
do you
well,
want to talk about
honestly.
something else while the cinephiles have a conversation?
Oh, right. Well,
Yeah.
I did notice that one of the cinephiles said, "Oh, brother, where art there?" instead
Yeah,
of
I
"Oh,
heard
brother,
that
where
too.
art thou?"
Yeah. Wow.
So I'm just really wondering if he's seen all of those movies,
Yeah.
and do I have to?
I have.
That's
I
really,
have seen it.
and I just want to clarify for our listeners: the fact that Dan went and watched that list and now refers to himself as a cinephile is objectionable to me, mostly because I feel peer pressure that I'm eventually going to have to do the same thing, and I am so mad.
Man, but like I can tell you, I will say right now on pod that like my wife and I have like really dropped the ball on doing this in any sort of like expedient way.
Yeah.
That's a relief.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because and actually a lot of those movies are depressing, and I don't want to watch them.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
are.
and a lot of them are real racist.
I'm
Yeah,
sure
they're-
they are.
Like if you want to watch movies with blackface,
Yeah.
watch the AFI Top 100.
Yeah.
Hey.
Whoa.
Yikes.
But at least the new one that we're watching doesn't have Birth of a Nation on it.
What?
Cha-ching.
Yeah. Yep.
Progress is slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna wait for the new 100 to come out. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
it'll
give it 10
probably
years.
it'll
probably
just be
pretty
like
good.
it'll be
I
like
was hoping-
Frozen and
Frozen
whatever made the
2.
most money. And
I was hoping that they were going to come out with a new one because they
Skyscraper.
came out with 2010, right? Was the last one?
I think so.
2007.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
No big deal.
Oh my God. I've been told by many of our listeners that this is a great bit that Dan has pulled off, but I can say, I think I agree with Molly that from within the show, it's incredibly irritating.
Well, I do it all for the fans. So thank you, fans. You supported me in this journey
Uh-huh.
that you didn't know was happening.
Yes.
Well, and I feel like we gave it short shrift when you first announced it, in part
I
because
feel like
it was
that
so
was-
unbelievable.
No, and it was so quietly introduced too. Like, yes, there was no fanfare at all.
Oh, I've also seen that.
Yeah. I believe I sang the Venga Boys after I had announced it.
We'll check the tapes.
Yeah, check the hashtag tape tapes. Hashtag the Vega bus is coming.
To the AFI
AFI-ville.
100.
100 stops, 100 buses.
That's so stupid.
Molly, what should we rate this movie that we're talking about, The Big Lebowski?
Yes, that we've been exclusively talking about this entire time.
It's been really good. We're going to rate it in terms of cool proto dudes.
Cool proto dudes.
Yep.
Okay,
Like a-
so
oh.
that's like your friend Sean, who like lives down the hall in the dorm, who's just like wearing a robe all the time, and like
Carrying around
is
milk
most-
with ice in it.
Mhm, yeah,
Yeah, asks if he can roll one.
and like it's not
If he
he's
can
not
do a
like a
J.
bad guy or like really doing anything that's actually harmful, but you're also just like, oh fuck, Sean's
Yeah.
coming over.
He substituted drug use for personality.
Yes.
Okay, I love it. Do I usually go?
Yes.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember really liking this movie, as we've discussed. I remember. I'm worried though that like, even though I haven't even seen it that much, and I haven't really like allowed myself to be too inundated with the culture that has surrounded this movie, I'm also worried that it's going to be like not as good as I remember it. Maybe because it's dated, or maybe because I don't know. They've just made a lot of more, like they've made several more movies since they made this movie, and maybe like they'll be like the roots of their artistry in it, but it'll also be like, I guess it's just okay. So I'm going to give it a cowardly 3 proto dudes.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, I thought you were going to do at least 4.
Well,
Wow.
I did too when we first started recording. But then you remind me how annoying the culture around it is, and I'm worried that maybe it's more inherent to the movie than I think it is.
Fair.
Wow. I think Beth goes next.
Yes.
I have high hopes for this movie. I think the cast is amazing. I think the directing is amazing, and everything about it is amazing. So I'm going to say 5.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Me also. Also
What?
5.
Oh.
Me also 5. I don't think I also said this, but I probably haven't seen this movie in quite a while either. You know, I saw it in college, no big deal.
Wow.
And then watched it a bunch over the next few years, and then I haven't really rewatched movies. So,
Okay.
I've got
I don't
like
either.
a
He's
like
too
a
busy
hint.
checking off movies on
Yeah.
lists.
Cinephile.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's the cinephile.com list.
Yeah.
So there's like a little tickle of a worry in the back of my brain that something's going to go awry. But I'm still being bold as a bee
What?
Wow.
and giving it 5.
What kind of bee?
Bumblebee, the boldest bee there is.
I think it's interesting.
You think that's the bold? Hold on. You think a bumblebee is the boldest bee?
Yeah, it's got a big old butt and it's just like
Oh my
buzzes
God,
around.
no,
It's the
you're-
loudest. That's bold.
What about the murder hornet?
Yeah.
That's a hornet.
I mean, but there's also Africanized bees.
Okay, that's
I'm sure there's a better
racist.
term for that. Is it? I don't know. Is there a better term for it? I have no idea.
It's either racist or the coverage around it is racist.
Yeah, that's probably more what it is.
Well, I can't believe you didn't say proto cool dudes. No, cool proto dudes.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
there's nothing cooler than a cool proto dude.
Yeah.
But I was
5,
talking about being
cool.
bold.
Oh, I get it. Okay, B is good. That was really good with that Bumblebee reference.
Yeah.
Hey, my favorite Transformer. So,
Oh.
hey, is it my turn to rate this movie?
A fun
Why?
fact.
I
Why
mean,
what?
I don't want to get too deep into it, but why Bumblebee? He's the one that can't talk.
Yeah, but he uses
he-
like pop culture
Music.
references and music and stuff. That's fun.
Oh,
so
he's like a
charming.
mixtape.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a love letter every time he talks.
Oh.
He's a girl talk.
Yeah, he's
What?
like girl talk.
Oh yeah, he remixes a bunch of
Yeah.
popular songs. And yep.
Yep, there you have it.
Okay, I accept.
I am going to give it 3.5
Wow.
cool proto dudes. Because it's a step up from being right in the middle.
Yes.
And that's where I feel.
A step up.
Because I know how much other people love this movie, but I also know myself. And I know, I don't know, maybe I was just a jerk around the time that I watched this, but I remember feeling like it just wasn't for me. You know, that it was for a lot of people, but not for me. And I didn't
Yeah.
have that same kind of nostalgic rooting. So yeah, okay, 3.5. I'll go 3.5.
Great.
And with that, we're going to press pause and go watch The Big Lebowski.
Hello, listeners. It's me, Beth Gibbs, from the podcast you're listening to, here to tell you about something called a phone.
Wow.
Now,
Wow.
if you want to use your telephone, you might have one in your pocket or in a purse or maybe sitting on your nightstand next to your bed. It's also an alarm clock. Phones are different things than they were when I was a child. I'm falling apart. Okay, so here's what I have to tell you is we have a phone number now.
Yes.
So
Ah.
one of the things that we hear the most from people is that they yell at their phones or whatever you're listening to your podcast on whenever they listen to our podcast because we are often quite wrong about things. So our phone number, you can call and leave a message and tell us something that you might have been like, hey, dummies, this is what's true about this. Or maybe you're like, hey, I love you so much and I just wanted to tell you. Or maybe you have something related to the episode. Like, for example, this episode, The Big Lebowski, maybe you have a special story that has to do with the movie that you wanted to share with us. So,
Or if
you
you've
have,
just met Jeff Bridges, I would love to hear that
Oh.
story.
yes,
Oh.
please tell us
Yeah,
about the time
or
you met Jeff
Sam Elliott.
Bridges.
Any of them,
Both
really.
those things.
Or if you just haven't had a chance to use your keypad in a long time.
Yeah.
You know?
Just dial it in, see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you give us a call us at 612-208-9788. You can leave us a message at any time, and maybe we'll play it on the podcast.
Ooh.
Ooh. And maybe not. I don't know what we're going to do with it, but we do want to hear your responses.
I mean, as long as
Yes.
you don't say anything stupid, we'll put
Yeah,
you on
don't
the
say
podcast.
anything dumb.
How did we turn into sports radio?
So what our real plan is that you're going to call us, and then we'll make fun of you on the next episode.
No.
That's
no.
not
Or-
true.
Or go, well, that's a good story,
What? Oh,
Keith.
Keith, you can call us if you want. It's fine.
Keith, give us a
Or
call.
who's our best listener?
I don't
Best
know.
Many.
listener. We got
Susan, it's someday. Call us up with the listener that we made up a couple episodes ago and riffed about. I can't remember her name or what the circumstances were.
Oh, yeah. I don't either. But let us know.
I feel like this has maybe gone off the rails. I just want to clarify for everyone that we really genuinely want to hear from you. And we will
Yes.
not make fun of you because we're not like that. I mean, if we were going to make some fun of something, we would have made a lot more fun of Phantom Menace. And I think we were pretty kind to that movie.
It's true.
Really?
But I haven't heard it recently. Anyway, we appreciate you and we'd love to hear from you. What is that number again, Beth?
The number is 612-208-9788.
Wow. I can't wait to hear from all of you.
Call us today.
Beep.
And we're back. We just hit pause. Then there was a tornado warning. Then some time passed. Then we watched 1 hour and 59 minutes of The Big Lebowski, which was really a lot of like white dude stuff and iconic. Then about 24 hours passed, and then we logged back on to finish the podcast.
Yes.
Wow.
That is
Wow.
true. There
Great
was
summary.
no tornado near us, it turns out. Right?
But it
Yeah.
was the threat was
There was
real.
a
High
warning
winds.
of one.
There was
a
high
warning.
winds.
Like 60
Some
miles an
people-
hour.
I went
Lost
to my
power.
basement.
I mean, not some people in our podcast, I don't think.
No.
But residents of our city that we
No.
call home,
Yes.
Minneapolis, lost power.
I was very sad I didn't grab a belt to
Oh.
Twister style save myself
Right.
from the tornado.
Right. That's like the main takeaway from that
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Always.
I do know where my pipe is. So,
Oh, your belt pipe?
yes, my belt pipe. Yes, not the belt, but the pipe.
Yeah.
I guess I know what belt I'd use, but it's on the second floor. I should keep a
Right.
belt.
You should just
In the
keep-
basement.
put it
Yeah.
attached.
Okay, quick PSA for everybody listening and for me, me to internalize. Go
Yeah.
down to your basement, figure out the strongest pipe
Yeah.
available. Then get yourself a nice, solid, high quality belt and just leave it down there,
Yeah.
easily accessible near the pipe.
Yep.
I mean, pre-attach it, I guess, right?
I guess why would you?
I guess.
So if anyone's curious, we're talking about an episode of Twister
Oh, yeah.
where we got
Go back.
pretty obsessed with Helen Hunt's use of a basic belt to save her own life. We were pretty hard on that movie.
Check
but
it
it's a-
out at totesrecall.com.
.com/that Twister
No,
episode.
I'm pretty sure that's not.
That's the URL?
Dot
That
HT,
Twister episode?
I'm pretty sure that's not the URL.
045, that Twister episode. Some hyphens.
Wow.
It's probably blog/Twister at the end.
Oh,
Wow,
that's
that's close.
very
So-
cool. Hey, you know what would be fun?
What?
Hey.
Our award-winning segment.
Oh,
Oh, 60-second summary.
Yes.
6XM, as it's known in the parlance of the times.
The problems of our times. 6XM. I don't, in the parlance of my life, I don't remember who did it last, and I volunteered to do it.
Okay.
That sounds great.
Great.
You're notoriously bad at it, so
Oh,
I'm
how
sure the
dare you.
fans are ready for it. Okay. Also, it's been 24
It's been
hours, so this should be really interesting.
yep.
Okay, are you ready? I'm putting
As
putting
ready as
60
I'll ever
seconds on
be.
the clock. Okay, and go.
We open on Tumbleweeds and Sam Elliott describing the dude, I think, and it's a story about the dude in Los Angeles. The dude is drinking half and half in a Ralph's. That's the first part of the movie. He goes home, he gets his rug pissed on, and that is the inciting incident. he goes to the other Lebowski's house. The dude is named Lebowski. So is another guy who appears to be rich. He tries to get a rug. He
30
succeeds in getting the rug. And that leads down some twists and turns with a kidnap plot. Was she kidnapped? Turns out no. There's a pornographer. There's the police chief of Malibu. There's gunfights, fire. And in the end,
10 seconds.
I don't remember how it ends, except he abides. Donnie dies, the dude abides.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Wow.
The amount of detail you go into at the beginning is
Yeah, it's such a pendulum swing.
I can remember. I feel like maybe it's my cinephile superpower. We all get one once we've unlocked the AFI or Top 100, and
Where you
mine
just-
is remembering the opening of movies,
Yeah.
and then from there just like fully black out on the rest of details.
What's your cinephile superpower, Beth?
I'm able to recall who the transportation captain was in every film,
I see. Very cool. Very impressive.
but never ask me because I can't say it out loud.
Yeah. You just know.
Yep.
Huh.
Well, yeah, I thought that was a great summary. I
Thank
feel like
you.
there's
Thank
a lot
you.
to talk about with this
Thank
movie.
you.
I feel like there's actually, they pack a lot in. And honestly, here's what I think happened. I think the Coen brothers sat down together and they were like, we're each going to challenge each other to include something in the script. And they just started they started something easy like men versus women, and then religion, and then nihilism, and then life, and then death. And they just kept going, and they were like, and we'll frame it around bowling. Go.
I think that they sat down and said, okay, we're going to try to write, our challenge to each other is to try to write the stupidest noir in the history of film. That's how I perceive this movie.
Yeah.
Success.
Yeah.
And then maybe they had, as they were going, they got real high and had the conversation that you just described, Molly,
Oh, man.
as they were fleshing out the second draft.
Real quick about the dream sequence. We bet that's where the boobs took place, and they did not.
well,
Correct.
yes. Don't don't the sequences both start with that woman being thrown up in the trampoline thing?
I
No.
thought that was just happening
was-
at Jackie Treehorn's.
Correct.
Oh, okay. So it's not part of the
Estate.
dream sequence.
It's just so
adjacent.
burned into your brain, Beth,
Yeah.
because you were so uncomfortable with those
So-
with those boys
It
in
was
that co-ed
so
movie
uncomfortable.
watching.
I mean, as I was
then-
watching it, I was like, yeah, I can see why I was uncomfortable with this.
Oh, yeah. And even
Those
just
are-
the bowling pin inserting itself between two bowling balls.
You know, honestly, probably didn't even catch it. I was in high school at that point, and I didn't even catch that. That's how much my brain was not in that mode.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, that was definitely would have been uncomfortable in a co-ed situation. I mean, the first boobs are just a glance at Maud's as she turns, and I was like, well, that's not too bad.
Yeah,
But then there's
a lot more.
topless
There's a lot of nudity.
parachute.
Yes.
Yeah. And just a guy who's like just so into that parachute, like
Yeah, I mean that guy crushed his role of being
Yeah, he
like,
did.
holy shit, this is happening to me.
yeah, and also like I'm probably just loaded on something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, on whatever was in that Caucasian.
Hey, am I right?
Yep. So that's Boob Talk, our ongoing question mark
God,
segment
I
here
hope
on
not.
Totes
Big
Recall.
question mark. Big question mark.
Yes.
Speaking of boobs, I want to talk about men.
Okay.
Great transition.
Worse than the
do you want to? This is me maybe just making you admit that you took shitty notes. Do you want a quick run through our bets from the first?
Oh, sure. I took shitty notes. Here is the extent of the bets I wrote down
Great.
from a
I'm
day ago.
excited.
1, hot soundtrack. Yes.
Yes.
Confirmed. It came out in the year 1998, which means Beth and also Dan were correct.
Way to go.
Boom.
This precedes The Matrix and Office Space by 1 year. For those that
Thank you.
remember two of my favorite movies that came out in 1999.
Thank you for that reference point.
Yeah. Also, Molly, this takes place after you were born.
Oh, thank you for
Presumably.
clarifying.
Yeah, all four, yes. Okay, Molly bet that whereas the theme of past present, and future, represented by our three primary bowlers characters. I guess that's a longer discussion. We'll get into it. Molly also bet that there was a robe, a rug, and a toe.
Crushed it.
Crushed
Yes,
it.
True.
You're welcome.
There was a Eastern European kidnapping.
Well,
Sure.
Is Germany?
I don't know.
I
Eastern
mean, where in
European?
Germany? Huh?
Is it Eastern Germany?
What does Eastern European even mean in
Yeah.
the post-Soviet era of
That's true.
1990, whatever?
That's true.
Confirmed they speak German also.
Oh, thank you.
Confirmed German.
But then they don't? I don't know.
What?
I don't
Dinah
know.
Cobble?
I just felt like maybe okay, I speak Hollywood German, so it's not as good as like a fluent German speaker. But
Yeah.
when they're in the restaurant and they're like ordering stuff, I'm like, I don't know if that's actually German or just kind of made up
Mumbly.
things. Yeah.
I understood the German in log jamming.
Uh-huh.
When he said Dinah Cobble, I was like, the cable.
Uh-huh.
Very
I got you,
good.
Carl Hungus.
Very,
Very
good.
good.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, where's Peter Stormare from?
Stormer?
Is he German?
I
No,
don't
he's
think so.
Swedish.
I
The
think
internet
he's
says
Swedish.
he's Swedish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So never
he's-
mind.
Yeah. Okay. 3 more notes I had. Bunny was never abducted. True.
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 Everyone crushes it. True.
Absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
1,000%
Saying
true.
true. Yeah. I'm gonna say
And
true.
fries, which I believe was my bet that someone ate fries. And I don't think that came true.
I don't think so. I think even when they were coming back from In-N-Out, I think we only saw burgers, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And those fries are good. As a native Californian,
Oh,
I can attest to the deliciousness of In-N-Out Burger.
I mean, Donnie was taking up the whole back seat, so there might have been some fries back there somewhere, but we don't know.
we'll never know.
They cut them right there at the restaurant.
Oh, for
What?
Pete's sake.
They put the potato. They got a little like drill press looking thing.
Uh-huh.
They put the potato in and
Fresh fries.
fries.
Do you request how many potatoes of fries you get?
Ooh, no, but they come in a basket. They put them in a.
Oh my
They
God.
put them in the basket and then they overflow it to make you feel like you got more
You're like a hot
for
deal.
your money, but it's like also hard to keep hold of.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
just like Sweet Martha's cookies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
Five Guys burgers and fries.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess it's not specific to California anymore then, is it?
Ooh.
Boom, 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 boom.
Boom, boom, boom. You suck, Dan. Your childhood is not valued.
How dare you? Quick In-N-Out story. and
In-N-Out.
movie related.
Family restaurant.
In-N-Out family restaurant.
Yeah.
I went and saw a movie with my friends, my high school friends.
Bragging.
No big deal. I had friends in high school. And then we were like, let's all go get In-N-Out afterwards.
Uh-huh.
And
Because you could do that because you grew up in California.
as I could do that, I had a car. No big deal. And it was literally, you jump on the highway, you go one stop, you get off, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
It took me 20 minutes. I got so lost. I got there as everybody was finishing and still ordered and like kind of through social pressure made everybody stay till I finished. And I was incredibly embarrassed. I have a terrible sense of direction.
I've definitely done that more than one time. Yeah, I won't go into my I'm bored by my own story. Okay, bye.
That's just passed out.
Okay,
Better bite.
I'm back.
Okay. But I wanted to talk about men.
Yes.
Typical.
It's the only note I wrote during the watching of the movie.
Did you write
Just in it.
like literally just men?
I just wrote
The
men.
word men in a
Yes.
notebook.
Yes. And so we talked in the first half about how this movie was maybe just for white men.
Yep.
And then I was mulling over that as I watched. And then also kind of, and this is not a new thought, definitely not a new thought for the world and not even a new thought for dummy old me, of like, oh, like this is a great movie made by and for men, white men. And I can appreciate that, but like, that's too bad that this is most movies.
Right.
And like, what if women or like people of color were making movies that were this good, but like about them? We'd have more good movies
Right. Exactly.
because like the field's too wide on the white men making movies about white men, and maybe this is one of the best ones, and it would still rise to the top in an equal playing field. And I was like, wow, Hey, man.
Hey, man.
White supremacy's a bitch. So is the patriarchy. You should do something about that.
Yeah, right?
Probably.
Anyway, you mind if I do a J?
It's a bummer, man. It's a real bummer.
It's a real bummer. Yeah, but so I kind of agree. Like, this is a movie for a specific kind of white man.
Well,
and it does great at that.
It sure
Yes.
does. And can we talk about the women in this movie for just a second? Like,
Yeah, we
Absolutely.
can talk about it for
I
multiple
mean-
seconds if you want.
well,
It's
I don't
2020.
want to take up too much space as a woman.
Thank you for your pre-apology.
So Julianne Moore is so incredible. And also, P.S., this was a time when I
Precious.
think she was naked in almost every movie that came out around this time. There was a lot of, I guess I'm thinking mostly of movies that are too painful to try to conjure up right now. But just trust me, there was a lot of it. And, in this, she plays this very proper, aggressive, high class. Oh, and there's a lot of classism stuff in this, right? It's pretty overt. But sort of like the uptight, hyper intellectual feminist who is such a feminist that she feels like she doesn't need men to the point where she only wants the dude's sperm. And then in contrast to that, you have Bunny, who is sort of a vapid, vacant person obsessed with sex and impressing guys with sex. And then the woman on the trampoline. And I think that might represent all the women. And to me, this is no different than the old Betty Veronica dynamic. Like, it is much more beautifully done. It's a beautifully done movie, but it's just using these women to demonstrate different facets of some pretty shallow ideas. Whereas if you think about the trio of the dude, Walter, and Donnie, in some ways, there are three facets of like at least one male psyche. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of gets into it a little bit, and then the police kind of represent their thing. I don't know, man. It was just it was sad to me because I love the Coen brothers, and this movie was so well done. And there was one moment where the setup for the shot, like, all the shots are beautiful. After a while, it just washes over you. But there was this one shot, and I think it was just in the bowling alley of like the paper, and like the score sheet, and I was like, holy crap, that is beautiful and exquisitely done. And they paid so much attention to everything on this one shot that's going to last for 2 seconds, and you have these women characters who are bullshit, and they had brilliant actors playing them. And I just, like, I know patriarchy, this is a movie made in 1998, whatever, but it is frustrating that it's kind of the best case scenario in a lot of ways, and it comes up really short in this area, I think.
I don't know. I feel weird about it, about saying that it's made for men, because like I really like this movie. So does that mean that I don't know. Like, I don't know how I don't have a full thought about this, because I do feel like I really do like this movie. But I do agree that like I wish that now watching it like again, how long ago was this made? 20 years ago now?
Yeah,
22.
just about.
22 years ago. I think we're way more, I mean, of course we are way more aware of it, that the women are not as like, they're not fleshed out characters. I guess what I'm saying is that like, I think I'm struggling with like, oh, can I not enjoy art that was like made for a different audience?
So I think like made for men is sort of a shorthand for like made without actively considering the perspective of anyone else. So like they're not necessarily like, there are definitely directors who are just like, fuck yeah, making a movie for me that I want. We're going to get hot chicks and we're going to do cool stuff and who cares? And then like the Coens, at least you can tell they're at least trying to make interesting films. But they're still like just two, middle class white dudes from a certain generation.
You know what that reminds me of, Dan?
Yes.
It reminds me of an early TBS movie tagline.
Okay.
Movies for guys who like movies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
I remember that.
And it was basically an admission that most of the viewership of TBS was men, and the prevailing logic was that women would watch whatever the man in their house were watching, but men would actively resist watching whatever
Yeah.
women were watching, right? The whole chick flick as a term of derision.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah,
we're
so when
the
I haven't finished my story, Dan, and if
Sorry.
you interrupt me. So when a new head of the network, so the guy who headed up TNT took over TBS, and one of the first things he did was change that tagline because he's like, what are we telling our viewers except we are a channel for guys and then women who are willing to tolerate guys who are watching a channel for guys. Like, no.
And
I
then
was
someone
real
in that
proud.
boardroom was like, holy shit, and ran out, quit their job, and started Spike TV.
yeah, I was going to say that exact same thing.
Ugh.
Dan, do you want to finish whatever your thought you started while interrupting Molly, or do you want me to go?
Oh, yeah. I was going to interrupt and talk over Molly to agree with her.
I was also going to do that, to be clear.
In that, yeah, I was like realizing again what a cultural standard it was to like talk shit about quote unquote women's movies, chick flicks specifically, right?
Yeah.
And like it's such a trope for a dude to be like, oh fuck, my lady wants to watch a goddamn rom-com
Right.
chick flick. Oh, I guess I'll do it because then we're gonna fuck.
I feel like just in the last couple of years are we starting to like finally, as a like just broader culture, engage with that like fake tautology. Like I feel like we're just now starting to break down this like just internalized concept that like ultimately filmmaking is for men, like both the act of filmmaking and the
Yeah.
consumption of it, because there's definitely still that like kind of just running through our society. I feel like you can just see it, like there's so many dudes. I mean, just look at fucking YouTube. Like, there's so many dudes who just, like, put up videos of, like, here's a 90-minute rant about my personal opinion about a movie framed as if it was the absolute objective truth about a film.
Yeah.
And there's so many of them. And it's usually them responding to this very, unfortunately, gradual change that's occurring in our society. Like, people lost their fucking minds and probably ruined the YouTube algorithm forever because they gave a lady a lightsaber in the new Star Wars movies, you know?
Yeah.
Or like the
Or,
fact
like,
that the
made them
Wonder
fight
Woman
ghosts.
movie made money.
Yeah.
And was pretty good.
It was good.
Oh, Wonder Woman was great.
Good action movie.
Yeah.
One of the best in a run of not very good movies in the DC universe.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wonder Woman shines.
Still a terrible
bright
third
as
act, like all of them, though.
in
my opinion.
Golden lasso.
Huh?
Oh, it shines bright like a golden lasso.
There we go.
which I
Got it.
think
Yep.
She has.
Great reference.
Go see Wonder Woman 2 at some point.
I don't know.
It's in
yeah.
the 80s. I've
Yeah,
seen a trailer.
correct.
I don't know. We'll come back to this synergy later. Whoever's in charge of that.
Yeah, I have no idea who's in charge of that. I also think the Coens, when you actually, I mean, going back to sort of this initial thing we were talking about, like I think that is a valid criticism of most of their body of work, right? Like they definitely write. Sometimes they will write films that are centered around female characters,
Yeah.
but not that often, and you know, like they definitely like. I mean, I guess this happens with a lot of auteurs, whatever that means to you. Like they are speaking so much from their own personal viewpoint, and if it's two dudes who grew up in the same house, like you're probably going to end up with like, as much as they make interesting movies and kind of run through genre and run through stories, like you're still getting like in some ways a very narrow worldview from the fact that it's being made by these two men who shared such a, you know, so much of their upbringing was shared experience between the two of them, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if they have, I don't know, like does what's her name, does Fargo lady, like does she like watch those movies just like and like give notes
Frances-
before they
Frances
release them? Thank you.
McDormand?
Yes, God.
Not in this one.
No.
No, she's not in this one.
CoBro
I was just
standard.
thinking about that because she's married to one of them. I can't remember which one.
I mean,
But but she's the main character in Fargo for sure.
for sure.
Like, and that character's incredible. She's so good in that.
Although so much of that movie, like so much of the energy of that movie is her basically like just pushing against the force of stubborn men in various
Yeah.
forms, you know.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. She's in Burn After Reading too, right?
Yes.
That's more of an
She's like,
ensemble.
yeah.
Wow.
great too.
Yeah. Okay.
I think part of maybe the issue that you come across with their movies is like so few of their characters are like boring normal people, right? So
Yeah.
since so much of the cast are just sort of these like absurd caricatures of what a human being could be, that means that like if you have a mostly male cast, then you're going to run into Molly's experience with this movie, where it's just like, oh, these are the only women we get in this movie, are these like very specific cartoon characters, essentially? Because so much of their movie, like all of their movies, like are mostly populated with cartoon characters, essentially.
Yeah. Can we talk about I feel like we've talked about women plenty.
Yeah. Thank you.
Enough of the women.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Let's get
Let's
to
move on. Am I right?
let's get to what the real film is about.
But hearing you talk about the characters as caricatures a little bit made me think more about the dude Walter and Donnie.
Yeah.
And I feel like my past, present, future holds up.
Yeah, can you expand on that? Because I
Sure,
was
because-
trying to follow along as we watched the movie,
Yep.
but then I
Well,
just got distracted by how stupid they all were.
Well, so Walter, who John Goodman absolutely crushes that character,
Oh my God.
makes
Holy
him
shit, yeah.
somehow vulnerable and interesting
Yeah.
while being.
Oh yeah, that was my other men point. So
Dan,
come back to
Yeah.
Dan Jaquette, at one point in our movie watching text chain, he just texted, "Walter is the worst. I love him."
Yep.
Yep.
But one thing about Walter is we suspect he's pretty deeply embedded in the past because
yeah.
of his ties to Vietnam. But then he's also tied to the past by his ex-wife, who's been divorced from 5 years.
Yep.
And tied to the past with holding on to Judaism, which person can do, but in the context of this character was sort of further evidence of that. So Walter's like the easiest.
Yeah.
The dude is constantly in the present.
Mm-hmm.
He really does not think ahead that much, right? Like he's always just wherever he's at.
Right.
So
Which is so funny because, like, I mean, that's part of a lot of the humor of the movie is that, like, it's supposed to be presented as sort of like a private eye story, but, like, he is the worst private eye because of that that inherent part of his personality.
Yeah, he's always like lots of ins, lots of outs, right?
Yeah.
I guess that's a in and out reference too. But not able to piece it all together in part because he cannot imagine the future.
Mm-hmm.
And then Donnie, I think, represents both innocence and the future.
He definitely represents innocence.
Oh man,
Oh,
Poor
Donnie.
so sweet.
Fucking Buscemi, man.
This is also like there's like a ongoing joke or theme that Steve Buscemi always dies in movies. And this is one of them.
Yeah.
Like in their movies or just in movies?
Just in movies,
Okay.
he often dies.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I was wondering about like what it was like for him to play that character because he gets pretty much cut off anytime he says anything.
He was so good at it. Like
Yeah.
just like his delivery and his timing every time was so good. Like, I don't know. I feel like one of the first things he says that isn't like, the first thing he says is just like, I'm throwing rocks. Like he's just like, oh yeah, he's the guy who loves bowling. But I think like one of the first things he says is just like, Lebowski, that's your name, dude.
Yeah.
That one gets me when the dude goes like, they're gonna cut off my Johnson. I need my Johnson. And he just goes, what do you need that for, dude? It's just like so spaced out,
Like,
but like earnest.
80% of his lines are questions.
Yeah.
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 Because the future is a big question mark. We don't know.
Well,
don't
oh yeah,
know.
Molly, please. Sorry, expand on
Sure.
the other part of his personality.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think, adding to what you've said, the moments where he's just doing reaction shots between the two,
Oh my God.
is
so
just
good.
they're just incredible. He's amazing. But he is also one of the few people who bring up the future, whether it's can we go to In-N-Out Burger after, or
Oh.
Walter, are these men gonna hurt us?
Yeah. Oh,
Right?
and he's the one that tells them about when their next bowling league game is. Like, as he
He's
sees the
thinking-
posted schedule.
Yeah. He is
Molly.
the only person who really thinks about the future and really
Molly.
pieces stuff together.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
You're
whoa.
blowing my
My
mind
mind
right
is
now.
blown.
Well, you're
Good
welcome.
job. This is a totes approved theory.
Yes, I agree.
Beth, insert rubber stamp sound effect.
What does a rubber stamp sound like?
I don't know, just like bam.
Or that one that the self-inking one that makes the kind of chunk.
Oh yeah, cha-chunk would be good.
Yep.
Nice.
Oh no, that's more like a gun.
That's
I
what
don't
I
know.
I don't know.
I'd buy it.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yep.
great.
Venga Boys approved.
Yeah, you're blowing my mind right now, Molly. You're right.
Yeah.
Like he
Yeah.
is the only one who like of the three of them, he's the only one that ever even acknowledges that like other things are going to occur.
Yeah. Well, the dude says, "I'll be there, man," to the dance cycle,
To the what?
Yeah.
to the landlord's dance quintet,
Oh, sure.
Oh, that is amazing.
which that dude fucking crushes.
Oh my god. What a like
Marty.
this this is that Marty's those kind of characters are definitely like lend weight to Molly's premise of how this movie was written, right?
Yeah.
Where it's just sort of like it's all. I mean, I do wonder if they sort of like they had like the couple of beats, like they kind of got over, like they got the main beats of the story, and then they're just like, and then I don't know, and they know most of these actors, or at least they seem to. Maybe I'm projecting because they've just had so many more movies since they made this one. But I just wonder if like, oh yeah, and then we'll get what's his name to just come in and be this weirdo for one scene.
Yeah, and then in that, like, the attention to detail is really good in the set. Whoever is in charge of that's great. Just like all those sneakers behind on the steps.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
It's
yeah.
just like so specific and good. Like all busted ass sneakers. It's so great.
One of my favorite things about that scene, or where they go to the dance recital, is they set that up at the beginning of the movie. It's just kind of like a, hey, also you need to pay your rent. Like,
Yeah.
he's, kind of setting up his character. And then that scene is used for like, here's the plan. Here's what's going to happen. It's like, they're just like sitting there and talking, but because that's happening in the background, it makes the scene more interesting.
Yeah.
It's just like such perfect filmmaking. My other favorite part, it's kind of weird, but like the, what's his name? Turturro. John Turturro, right?
Yeah.
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 King
Okay.
Jesus.
Yeah, like when they're talking about him, and they do like he's like he had to go to all the houses to like he's a pedophile, so he has to like go to all the houses and tell them that he's a sex offender, and all it shows is him walking up to a house, and then he just inhales, and it cuts that
cut
scene,
is
and it's
so
like
brilliant.
so perfect because you just are like exactly how awful and uncomfortable that whole interaction is, and like. You don't need to see anything more. Like you just know. And I love the Coen brothers so much.
And it's such a powerful contrast to how he behaves in the bowling alley too, right?
Yeah. It's like seat of power in there.
Yeah.
With
And I would
fucking-
also like to say this adds to my theory of them just challenging each other with the hardest to include stuff. So right after nihilism, someone was like pedophilia.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is the part where I was like, oh, is it necessary that is part of his character?
I mean, it feels like it's the kind of thing that works because it's something that comes out of Walter's mouth. Like it almost feels like he is just, I don't know. Like I feel like there are certain, like the most absurd, there's sort of this running thing in the movie where like the most absurd caricature side characters are all confirming Walter's incredibly flawed worldview, right?
Yeah.
So like, because he says this shit about everything. Like he talks like that about everything in his life, but sometimes he's actually right. Like, oh, Jesus Quintana, like, yeah, he's a sex offender. Like, this is a real thing that he knows. Because he's also weirdly good at getting personal information about people.
Yeah.
And like he actually, like one of his best lines is where at the end when the nihilists are confronting him and they're just like, it's not fair. And he's like, fair? Who are the fucking nihilists? It's like, oh, that's actually a really valid point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He's so good. When they scatter Donnie's ashes.
Oh my God.
And he like brings up Nam because he always does, and he like totally fucks it up,
eulogy.
and then puts the wind sweeps Donnie's ashes into the dude's beard.
So funny. That is one of the funniest
It's
film
so
moments ever.
Yeah, but then just the next moment where the dude is so mad at him, and then I don't know, John Goodman's body language
Oh
of
my
just being so
God.
Just
broken and saying
just
sorry
leaning.
over and over, and his
Yep.
arms just move a tiny bit to
Yeah.
try
Yep.
and hug him.
Yeah.
It's so brilliant from this
That's
character
great.
that's just been a piece of shit the whole time. And
Yeah.
you're like, oh my God, he actually like loves his friends so much.
He's such
Yeah.
a. I mean, I will say, like, I have met Walters in my life. Like, there are definitely men who are broken in like a specific way, where they're like so confrontational, but also so assured in their worldview. But at their deepest core, are just like so desperate to be loved, and they just
Yeah.
don't know how to navigate the world quite right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He fucking like those moments of vulnerability, like actual vulnerability of his, because obviously like there's like this just layer of insecurity behind every line of dialogue, but those moments of actual vulnerability are just like, oh my god, Johnny
the repeated
Good.
like, am I wrong all the time of both like being aggressive, but also like it's a check-in. Like he's not,
No, right? Like he's actually asking. Like he is legitimately asking.
Yeah.
And like the best, I like that is such a perfect distillation of their relationship too, of just like the way the dude operates too. Because like the first time they do that little back and forth. There's a thing where he's just like, "Am I wrong?" And the dude's like, "No," or like he says yes and no. Like he gives
you're not
the
wrong, you're
opposite
just an
answer.
asshole.
Like he gives the opposite answer the first time he asks twice because he's just because the dude is also trying to say so many things. Like I love how much of this, like those two, like they're both such idiots. But they also both are so confident in whatever they're saying. And
You know
that's
what
probably how their friendship is like. That's like their main bond together, right?
You know what I would love to see? I would love to see a version of this film that's only Donnie's perspective.
Right?
Because we only check in with Donnie here and there. Like, is he just like
what does he
hanging
do?
out at the bowling alley, just
Yeah.
smiling and chatting to people? Like, what
Yeah,
is his world?
Do you think he has
Does
like
he have
a
like a
full-time?
great life?
Like, yeah, he just has like a full-time job, and they're just like, "Hey, what's up,
He's like a
Donald?" And he just like
CPA or
high fives his coworkers.
He's just
Yeah.
blissfully ignorant to everything
Oh,
else that's
man.
going on.
Yeah. He's got like a wife who's great.
Yeah, God, he's so. I cannot get over Buscemi in this movie. Like he's like just that point where he literally just hears one of them say Lennon, and he's just like, "I am the walrus. I am the walrus." He's just trying to insert himself into the conversation with no context.
Yeah, he so badly wants to be in there, and then when he's shut down again, he's like,
Yeah. Oh man,
he's great.
he's great. They're all great. Everybody fucking crushes. Like I mean, I know I said this at the beginning of the episode, but like every single person in this movie just nails whatever they are given. Like the random, completely unnecessary pivot to Jackie Treehorn's Malibu estate. That dude is in one scene this entire movie, but it's fucking great. Like his weird little monologue that contributes almost nothing. Like he gives you one fact. He gives you one fact for the dude to piece it all together later. But otherwise, like he's just like this weird, what was that show called? Fantasy Island type guy who's just like, oh, we've moved into digital erotica. Like you're just giving the dude this weird pitch on modern pornography for no reason. And then he is the source of my favorite joke in the whole movie, where he takes a phone call, writes a little note on a memo pad, takes them with him, and then in the one moment in the entire film where the dude actually does something a private eye would do and like actually thinks ahead for even a second, all it is a doodle of a guy with a massive erection.
It's really
which is
good.
then
Really good joke.
found by the Malibu police when he's brought in.
Because all he has is a Ralph's card
And
a
the picture of the
sketch of
dude.
a guy with a huge
Oh my
dong.
god.
The moment that made me laugh the hardest,
Mhm.
because I guess I just wasn't expecting it, is when the dude is just driving down the street drinking a beer and smoking.
Oh yeah.
I guess maybe he has a roach clip holder, or maybe he doesn't. But anyway,
I mean, it depends on the scene.
but he drops it into
Yes.
his lap and
Yes.
like tries and is like frantically trying to get it away from his crotch and ends up putting it out with his beer.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know, man. I don't know why that got me, but
It's
it really
so
got me.
good. Well, and it's such a like he's so clearly like casually trying to just flick it out the window like he always does, right? It's such a habit for him. And then the yelp that Jeff Bridges makes,
It's perfect.
it's so perfect.
And then and then he crashes his car right into a dumpster. Is that into a dumpster? There's two car crashes. There's that one, and then when they try to make the handoff,
Yes.
and then crash into a telephone pole.
After he crashes because that is after Walter jumps out of the car with an Uzi wrapped in like postal tape or some packing tape.
Yeah. But I just love both of these because they're so they're filmed in such an unremarkable way. Like a car crash in a movie is a whole thing.
Yeah.
And these are both like the car hits a thing, it buckles a little bit. It's just like very realistic and sort of understated in terms of like how other movies do car crashes.
Yeah. Well, I feel like
I just love the like lack of weight it's given because it's like you just fucking crashed your car, dumbass.
Yeah, and I think that is to me that is like the heart of this entire movie, and I think why it was sort of, I don't know why it like appealed to people in such a unique way. Is like the whole underlying premise of this movie seems to be, I've already forgotten how you phrased it, Dan.
Not given the weight.
But before that, it was perfect. It was the perfect word for it. I don't know. Check the tapes.
Check the tapes.
But just like everything, like nothing is given the level of consequence that it might in another movie, right? Like there's this weird architecture, like just the ghost of an architecture of an actual noir film in this movie, but like everything is so ultimately low stakes, and anything of actual stakes is almost always presented as like, well, there was no real fallout from that. Right? Like the only time anything really happens is Donnie dies. And they even acknowledge that at the end with Sam Elliott being like, I didn't like to see Donnie die. Like they even criticize their own story choice of like having actual consequence at some points.
Yeah.
Well,
and he doesn't even.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Dan.
No, you go. I've been shouting for 4 hours.
Well, I was going to say the misdirection with the consequences, too. The moment where the dude has been broken into at least twice at this point,
Yes.
right? Where somebody's been assaulted in his own home, which he takes really well. But anyway, he decides to do something about it because he knows they're coming back. And so he does a really poor job nailing this piece of like 2x4 to the floor with like 1,000 nails that are mostly just mangled. Just mangled.
No.
And then he takes the most rickety chair you've ever seen to use to brace between the doorknob and this 2x4 that he's nailed into the floor.
Yeah.
And moments later, the door opens.
The other way.
And the other way, right?
Yeah.
So it's funny. I mean, I shouldn't be trying to explain a joke except to say I just so enjoyed it failed for a reason I didn't think about.
Yeah.
Right? I was just so expecting to see that chair crumble.
Yeah, like that's part of the like those are the most fun moments I think is when like he actually tries to take initiative, but like the results are completely useless.
Well, and I guess that makes him who he is, right? Like, why think about the future if it always works out as like a drawn dick pic or something?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, the attention to detail just in his living space is so good. Like the first scene
the
where he's
toilet
like,
paper.
yeah, where he's shoved into the toilet. Like there's an empty toilet paper roll on the little holder, and then there's just a roll of toilet paper on the top of the seat. And like just the fact that whoever dressed that set that day like took the time to be like, oh no, he would never put the initiative into changing the toilet paper roll. Like he just grab another
this
one.
Toilet is definitely going to be really gross and dirty.
Yes. And like, I was honestly, it was almost like a surprise that he had a bed later in the movie, right? After he slept with Maud, you're like, oh shit! It's actually kind of surprising that they're in a bed.
There is a third car crash because
is
Bunny crashes her car.
Yes.
Oh, sure.
On the fountain, maybe
We don't-
whatever it is in the front.
We don't
But-
see that though, right?
We see the car,
Right.
like the car sitting up there, and then but it's also she's just running around the house, like she's fine. She crashed she crashed her car and she's completely fine.
Yeah.
Also, Bunny is from Moorhead, Minnesota.
Your MNREF.
MNREF,
MNREF.
CoBro, MNREF. That was definitely the same thing we said in the first half, right?
Check the tapes. Hashtag. There is a limo driver in this movie
Oh
who
my God.
is perhaps the closest personification of Joe Prado
We've ever
we have
seen.
seen on film.
Yes.
It's incredible.
Go ahead, Beth.
You had texted, you said Jay Moore is crushing it, right? And you were referring to Julianne Moore.
Correct.
And in my head, you were talking about the stand-up comedian Jay Moore. And so I was like, oh, I would never have recognized that that's Jay Moore. And then you see, because you don't really see his face at first. But then I was like, oh my God, it's not Jay Moore. It's definitely Joe Prado.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's jovial. He identifies other automobiles.
Yep. He has a vaguely East Coast accent.
Yeah. I don't know if he specifically references how much he loves his wife.
I don't think
but
so.
You
Does
get
he mention his wife, though? He might mention his wife, actually.
Yeah.
Really?
I think he does.
Yeah.
Check the tapes. Tweet at
Check
us.
the tapes. Hashtag tweet at us.
Oh, what? Okay, tweet at us. First, hashtag tweet at us. Then, hashtag Joe Prado Lebowski, Big Prodowski.
2020.
Okay, hashtag tweet at us.
1998.
Hashtag Big Prodowski 2020, and then tell us if he mentions his wife.
Yeah.
You will know
So
which scene we're talking about because it is obviously Joe Prado.
And then, like, his cousin or something is probably the police officer who really ribs the dude for wondering if they're going to catch.
Oh, the guy at the impound lot?
Oh, they have any
Yeah.
leads?
Yeah.
leads.
Yeah.
That dude crushes.
He crushes.
Oh, all the police officers crush.
Oh, my God. So ridiculous.
Can I also add that all of the extras crush?
Let me hear
Like
it.
I don't know how they got their extras, but I was like, every single human being in this movie is nailing their role. Like the
Yep.
people at the restaurants,
Mm-hmm.
the people in the bowling alley, like they're great.
Yeah.
They're all great.
Oh, yeah. The opening, semi-opening montage of just like bowlers.
Yeah.
Like every bowler is an MVP. Like
Oh.
every single one that they leave the
Can
camera
I-
on.
Can I tell you which bowler is the MVP? My
Yes.
MVP?
The MVP? Or
Yes.
wait, the MVP?
What's the I don't understand the MVP.
The most
Most
valuable,
valuable.
most valuable.
I get it.
Valuable
Yep.
I get it now. I
performer.
thought it was a bowling reference, and I was like, I don't know.
Your
Brunswick.
turkey.
is
Yeah,
the name.
he's the turkey of the.
Okay, yes. So at the end of the movie, the dude and the stranger, I think is his character's name,
We
are,
haven't even barely
are
even touched
sitting
on, yeah.
and they're sitting at the bar and they're talking to each other. Then the dude walks away and Sam Elliott does his monologue to wrap up the movie, and then it starts to go back, and there is a bowler that then has to. This is one shot, like this whole thing is one shot. And then it pans back and a guy bowls and he has to hit a strike. They cut it right before the pins go down, but it
Yeah.
is like clearly a strike.
Yeah.
And I was like, the pressure of, okay, you have to, like, when we shoot this scene,
Right.
at the end of it, you can't do a gutter ball.
Yeah.
Like, this cannot go into the gutter. It needs to hit the pins. And I wonder if it cuts because he didn't actually get a strike,
I don't know.
or if it cuts because you don't know.
Yeah.
We have yet to talk about Philly's
Oh,
Seahawks.
talk about crushing it. My God.
My God.
Brant
He's so good.
is amazing.
His nervous laughter,
the fact
his,
that he's like,
gestures.
Oh, okay. The gesture that you just did.
yeah.
He reaches his arm out and he puts his head down
God.
and he's like what does he say?
He's in seclusion.
He's in
He's in
seclusion.
seclusion. It's so good.
Yeah. Or like the fact that he's so earnestly refers to the dude as dude.
Yes.
Yes.
Like he just accepts it. Like he loves it. Like you can tell he kind of gets a thrill out of calling the dude dude.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
not considered that dude.
Like
Yeah. He's so good.
he's so good, and just even that first introduction scene of him just like dealing with the dude. Like there's such this wonderful tension between the two of them that only one of them is aware of.
And we're talking about the landlord here, right?
No, we're talking about Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Brant.
Brant.
Oh, Brant.
Yes.
Oh, so brilliant.
So good. Oh my
Every
God.
reaction shot.
The
oh,
awkward
and the way
laughter.
he's like a grown-up 8-year-old.
Yes.
He's so eager to please.
Yes.
And just so smitten with his boss.
Yeah. Oh man. Like
Brilliant.
well, and like the sorry.
I was just gonna say the line where he's like, "This is when she was the first lady of the United States,
Yes.
not just the state." He like was very specific about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he has to make the bona fides of Lebowski. Like he has to
Yeah.
really like it. The dynamic between those two is so perfect. Like just that entire sequence of the dude entering that world, where like first he just deals with Brant, and then just the absurd. I mean, that guy also crushes it. He's been in a bunch of Coen Brothers movies. I don't know the actor's name. Sorry, old white dude. He
Well.
like his whole just monologue is so ridiculous and such a weird. Like it's so combative. and so classist. And then then he just goes, Brant will give you the details. Like, literally, there was no reason for them to have that conversation because he even tells the dude, like, you called Brant and Brant informed me. Like, he already knows everything.
Yeah. And then
Oh, no, I'm
scene just
sorry.
buttons
I
so
apologize.
well.
That was the second time he went to the house. Brant will give you all the details. But that was also just a ridiculous monologue for no reason, which has one of my favorite lines in the movie, which is strong men also cry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's so good in this fucking movie.
He's very good. R.I.P. Philip Seymour.
Yeah, man. Like,
Yeah,
it's a
so
bummer,
sad.
man.
Really, really one of the greats.
Yeah.
I also noticed that there's a person standing on the cliff behind them.
Oh, really?
Like
Yeah.
when they're throwing the ashes. And I don't know, I just saw them walk out of frame, so I don't know if it's like an extra or if it's supposed to be somebody
I don't
that's
think
watching them.
No. I really believe that somebody was just on set.
yeah.
Like
Okay, yeah.
because it was far
Like
enough
in
away.
frame. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I know. I mean, maybe. I mean, the Coen brothers are very intentional, but I was
Yeah.
like,
Because I was like, is that supposed to be Sam Elliott, like watching them do whatever they're doing?
I don't think that
Okay.
is it.
Okay.
so
I
is
didn't
Sam
know.
Elliott's character like in replacement of the noir narrator? Like, what is that business?
Yeah, I don't
Is
know.
he telling us just not to take it too seriously? Is that his whole deal?
Yes. I mean, yes, but I think he's also sort of like the Greek chorus of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that's what's so, like, this movie's so, like, that's what I find so enjoyable about this movie is, like, they frame it in such a, like, it's framed as this very classical structure and, like, yeah, like the stranger, he narrates it as if it's this, like, epic adventure, and then the dude sort of just, like, casually accepts that he's in, like, a Private Eye movie and that he's the star of it, even though he's clearly terrible at it. Because, like, there's that just that random moment, because, you know, Sam Elliott doesn't narrate that much, but there's that random moment where he gets drugged by Jackie Treehorn where suddenly you just hear Sam Elliott go, darkness washed over the dude. And it's, like, just this random little bit of narration to give it this, like, more epic quality. And then at the end, though, like, he's an idiot, too. Like, some of the shit the stranger says, he's like, he, like, loses his own train of thought at the beginning when he's trying to, like, introduce the story. He's like, there was a man. Well, it's a kind of man. Like, he goes off on that for, like, 3 minutes and then loses his train of thought.
Yeah. He's great. He crushes.
Like I said in our discussion, that mustache should run a country. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I
It's
know
a very
Sam
good
Elliott is
mustache.
famous for his mustache, but, like, in this particular outing of his mustache, my God.
Yep.
My God. It's
Yeah.
a massive, just beautiful expression.
It's definitely the MVM.
Whoa.
Yep. I agree to that.
He especially, like, is just what makes this movie, like, so absurd. Whatever else you take from the movie, like, he is sort of the one. Though, yeah, maybe you're right, Molly. Like, he just sort of, like, really makes it very clear by the end, like, this movie is ridiculous. Like, however you felt about this movie, like, this is so stupid because now there's just, like, this weird epic cowboy, like, giving you the coda send off, and him having this, like, weird admiration of, like, the most useless person in the world.
Yeah.
But then also criticizing the story for killing off Donnie.
I
I
did
agree.
because of that scene. We spent a lot of time in college calling beers oat sodas
Ooh,
and having a
Cool.
fun time with that.
that is fun.
Very dude.
That is fun.
2 oat sodas. We had wondered how often the dude would just
Oh, yeah.
parrot lines of dialogue that he'd heard before.
I think it was like 7. Is that what we ended up with?
Something like that. Yeah. It happens a lot. It's great. It's a Cracker Jack script.
Yeah.
A lot of people do that. They just they do a really good job of weaving the dialogue back through to make it such a cohesive piece of filmmaking.
Mm-hmm. You are a
Which is everybody's
cinephile,
kind of
so you understand.
Yeah,
it.
I understand from a cinephile perspective. They just reuse the same dialogue over and over in a way that's everybody is. It just I don't know. It really does it for me.
Yeah.
It's both the character aspect of the dude where he doesn't have original thoughts, but also creates a much more cohesive screenplay.
Stop.
Yeah.
Molly, for the listeners, Molly gave a huge yawn after that line.
Oh, wow. I think he was like around 7, because first he quotes George H.W. Bush saying this aggression was on stand. And then, he just like cherry picks little turns of phrase throughout the rest of the movie. Like he just sort of like picks up on things. And then at one point, even like near the end, even tries to steal again, like because he and Walter like are so confident that what they're saying matters. He like tries to very confidently throw out Sam Elliott's like, sometimes the bear eats you, and or the bar. Sometimes like just even like that's like just the perfect like zenith point of him just like stealing other characters' dialogue of like he's trying to give this like very cool send off before he goes back to bowl, and it's not in any way, it's completely plagiarized.
I didn't go to Wikipedia once.
Wow.
Yeah,
We can't sing the song.
I know. It's such a good song, too.
Thank you.
Next time, I almost can
Next time.
guarantee it.
I almost can guarantee.
That's fair.
Hey, last time I
That's
went to
the Totes Regal
Wikipedia,
promise.
it's now less than $3
What?
donation they're asking
What?
for.
Well,
I
we're
know,
not
right?
lowering our price
No.
just because they
No,
have.
it's still
Yeah.
at $3.
Does that mean
I
they're
was just
flush
curious.
with cash?
They definitely are making lots of money. $2.75.
Whoa, what a deal.
Wow.
Oh, that's a great fake out, man.
Yeah, it
That
is.
seems like so much less. Why wouldn't you just feel generous and round up to 3?
Yeah, but in our case, you have to pay $3.
Yes, or your vote does not count.
Yep.
Just like a normal vote in this country. Hey,
Hey, USA number 5.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
Before we get to our final thoughts on the movie, we like to read a review of our podcast, totesregal.com, in the impression of a character from this movie. There's a lot of
many
great
choices.
characters,
So many great choices.
but no reviews, so too bad.
Wow.
Instead, or in addition to one of those, in addition to that not happening, we also on Discord, which is a platform you can have access to as a patron. We put out a call on record day, which behind the scenes already covered was yesterday. If anybody has anything they
10
want us to
seconds.
talk about on the podcast. And there are people. Do you want more of an intro to this segment? Is that what you're asking for?
No.
10 more seconds, please.
Yes.
Okay.
Dan, could you pad this out a little longer?
I don't think this episode is long enough yet.
Oh, what is that? Oh, there's lightning in here now. Whoa, hold on. Okay, no. So we have one from Joe. How well did the rug really tie the room together?
Ooh, great question.
We don't get good, like, full apartment shots.
Well, there's
I don't
also
feel like
just
I
so
can-
much shit around. Like, maybe that's part of the joke. Like, his apartment is so messy.
Yeah, I think it's just that it's like the nicest thing in the
It's
apartment.
the cleanest part of his apartment.
Yeah.
Well, and that new rug is so much nicer.
Yeah, it
Yes.
is.
I can see why he'd be sad to let that go.
Yeah.
And he never gets a third rug, right?
We never see what gets, when the new rug
There's
is
no
replaced.
resolution. to the
Oh,
rug.
there is no resolution either to the bowling tournament, too, which I really appreciated.
Yeah.
Yeah, all you get is Sam Elliott going, wow, I sure hope he wins in the finals. And that's
Yep.
it.
Makes it
It's
to the
so
finals.
good. Makes it
Not
to the
even
finals.
wins the
So
whole
good.
thing. There's another good one that did occur to me. Any appreciation for the classic dub for TV? This is what happens when you find a stranger in the Alps.
Oh, yeah.
This is great. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. Maybe we'll remember to post this, but
I mean, I think we've even talked about this on the show before.
have we? Okay.
Quick review.
For those that don't remember, Molly looks like she doesn't know what I'm talking about.
I
so
actually,
I'll-
all those words you said didn't seem to connect to each other at all.
Yes.
Is that intentional? Like, did I just not hear it, or it just does sound like a grab bag of words?
Correct.
the whole thing?
Yeah, the whole
Or
thing.
just the
Something about
end
the
part?
Alps.
Okay.
What?
I will
Just that
rephrase.
part.
Can you read it like it makes sense?
No,
Okay.
that's kind of what we're talking about.
New,
Just wait
okay,
a
Beth,
second. He hadn't finished his story, Molly.
do I need to do a new reading to get it clean?
Dan, could you just redo that entire sentence again?
Okay, here we go. On my mark. Beep. Any appreciation for the classic dub for TV? This is what happens when you find a stranger in the Alps.
This is from our Discord.
This is
Question?
from our Discord.
Great.
Much better read.
Thank you. So as you may know, you can't swear on TV. So they redub swears in movies. And when Walter is repeatedly saying, this is what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass while he wrecks the Corvette, the TV dub is, this is what happens when you find a stranger in the Alps.
Oh.
And it's great.
Incredible.
Because
Wow.
it makes
What does that
sense.
even
No
mean?
sense.
It
It's
doesn't
just
make
like-
any sense.
Just like has the same cadence and
Same rhythm.
yeah,
I feel like they could have come up with something that had
Yeah,
the same
they could've.
meaning at least.
They
right?
definitely could have,
yeah.
but they didn't care.
So I do have appreciation for that.
Me too.
Yeah, I appreciate that
Very much.
very, very much.
It's great.
And then Joe also wonders if this is Jeff Bridges' best role. He's got a lot of roles.
He's got a lot of roles.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, it's
He's
definitely
great.
top.
He's so good.
He's so good.
It must be, right? I mean, it's the thing he's known for.
I mean, he recently
Yeah.
did an ad for something.
Yeah, he
Squarespace.
revisited the dude
Oh, did he?
Yep.
for
I didn't see that.
Oh.
a beer
know about that.
commercial.
Oh.
I mean, he's real good
Oh,
in
yeah,
True
I've seen
Grit,
that.
too.
Oh, so
Another
good, so
CoBro.
good. Apparently, the CoBros just know how to
yeah.
use Jay Bridge
He is so
because he was
good
great
at
in
that.
True Grit. But
I mean, the last picture show is
On AFI's.
Don't
On the
say
AFI
it.
Top
Oh,
100
God.
list.
I mean, I've seen that one because I've watched the first
This is
however
like
many.
99
of
or
that
Okay.
whatever.
I am not watching it. Listen, I have also seen that movie.
Great.
Okay.
No one has asked you to watch this.
No,
list.
literally no one
I'm
is telling you.
never going to watch all
Good.
those movies.
Good.
I'm waiting for
They'll-
the next one. I hope it's a good list. And I
Yeah.
hope it's much shorter.
Oh, I don't think they can.
15.
Like, it's not. It's going to be an internet explosion.
Yeah, right.
Because they'll do it somehow wrong. Because how can you say what the 100
Yeah,
best
right.
movies are?
Oh, it's ridiculous.
And then Trevor,
Mm-hmm.
presumably though, his name is Trevor Impersonator, so I guess not Trevor.
Oh,
Put a link to the Church of the Dude where you can get ordained.
oh.
Yes.
What does that
Um,
mean?
I know someone who is that.
I
Okay.
attended a wedding that was officiated by.
Do you have to dress in, like, the dude-
minister?
Dude clothes?
I don't think they're very strict about
Oh,
anything.
okay.
It's like both a joke and a internet thing, so you can do a marriage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that there was a whole version of the Big Lebowski written in Shakespearean iambic pentameter
Really?
style?
That's great.
I saw it performed.
Oh, how was that?
Apparently It was excellent. It was an internet sensation for a while. Somebody just sort of did it,
Okay.
and I wish I could remember who wrote it. But it is only an internet
Shakespeare.
search away. It's really brilliant, and there are little moments in the film that you can see why somebody who had that skill would be attracted to tackling that problem.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really good, and this a theater in Atlanta got permission to actually do it, and they did. It was
how was the climate
fantastic.
control in the theater in Atlanta?
It was a
yeah.
perfect temperature that
Uh-huh.
A lot of AC.
requires
AC
no
probably's got to go
further
into that.
description.
Right, because like once you step out of the theater, then like because the
It's
Pretty-
the city of Atlanta.
Uh-huh.
Atlanta.
Known for its
hats.
hats.
Nope. Nope.
Haberdashalanta.
Oh, this is
Beth, is
maybe-
there another segment? Is there another segment we could be doing?
If you think that this is the Big Lebowski of bits that we do, in that it is so stupid but also great, tweet at us.
No.
Hot or not.
Hot or not,
Hot or not,
Lanta.
Atlanta.
please put like an ellipses in there
Yeah,
in the hashtag.
please. Yes, absolutely.
Great. Well, thank you to our patrons who engaged with us
Yeah.
and were in return engaged with by us.
Wow.
Nailed that as well.
Uh-huh.
Dan, you gave this.
real quick. Great. Great read, buddy.
Thank you.
You really nailed it that time.
Yep. Thanks. Yep. I'm a professional. Our rating system
Ah,
was
yes.
cool proto dudes.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
which we didn't really talk about much. Where
Oh,
that thought came
yeah.
from, where like we were worried that like men in the real world would ruin this movie for us.
I don't know.
We'll talk about it.
think-
I
I
think in the
think
rating
there-
discussion.
I think there is a way to connect with this movie where you just think the dude is is like the coolest and
Right.
someone to emulate and look up to that does you and everyone around you a disservice.
Yeah, or like even there's definitely a way to just watch this movie and like be entertained by Walter, but like not really internalize it. Like, oh, he's like everything I shouldn't want to be
Yep.
if I'm a man.
Yeah. Good art challenges us.
Yes,
Anyway,
but
three-
also there's a dude with a big penis drawn on a post-it note. LOL.
Yeah. LOL.
LOL.
Dan, 3 cool proto dudes. You were worried it would maybe be dated, and the cultural taking of this would ruin your viewing.
Yes, I did think that. I did not find that to be true. I found that the experience of watching it for myself was very engaging and entertaining. I laughed quite a bit. I had not seen this movie in a long time and forgotten how truly stupid every character in this movie is. I had a great time. 4.5 proto dudes.
Great. Beth, you gave it 5. You had high hopes. I think. I can't read my notes. You
Yes.
gave it 5.
Yeah, I had high hopes, and those hopes were met at an equal level of highness.
Height? Is that the
Height?
word you were looking for?
No,
Okay.
it was definitely highness because of the Big Lebowski.
Oh, yeah.
LOL,
I
did you
get
get it?
Yeah.
LOL
Mind if I
420.
smoke a
420.
J? LOL.
Yeah, yeah. I thought the movie was amazing. I think the acting is incredible. The script is incredible. The editing is great. The cinematography is great. Everything is great. 5 proto dudes. Is that what it was?
Cool proto dudes.
Oh.
Cool proto dudes.
Specifically
Yeah.
cool.
Proto dudes.
Yes. Hashtag I stand with Beth. I thought I would give it 5, and I had a tickle of a doubt, but I was going to be bold as a bumblebee. The
Oh
bumblebee.
my God.
Buzz
and-
buzz.
Buzz. And give it 5. Great. I love that Buzz is now in the
Buzz
pantheon.
buzz.
of
Yum yum.
big,
Glug, glug.
No,
glug, glug,
no.
honey.
Wow. Wow. I hate
5
all of this so much.
cool bumblebees. Buzz. Cool proto dudes. Oh, we didn't even talk about milk. Quick sidebar. He drinks a lot of White Russians, which
Yep.
is a dairy-based cocktail. But I'm fine with it because it's alcohol. Also,
Great.
I guess you make them with half and half, given his purchase in the opening scene.
Oh, yeah, you do.
Okay. And he drinks out of the carton in the grocery store because he's a slob.
Yep.
5 proto brodos.
I assume that's how he gets most of his calories.
For sure.
Probably, yeah. Molly, you were giving it 3.5 because that's a step up from neutral. Something like that. Step
Yeah,
up was in
nope.
there. I remember because I kept thinking, should I make a step up movie reference
Right.
and totally derail Molly or
Right.
no? And I didn't until now.
Nice.
Very
Proud of you.
courteous.
Proud
Good
of you.
job.
Very good.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, I don't know. What's funny to me is I enjoyed this movie for all the reasons anybody would enjoy a well-done Coen Brothers movie. It was really a delight in many ways. What's hilarious is I watched it with my husband, and he cracked up like 10 times harder than I did, loved it like 10 times more. And as we were watching, I was like, this is for him. You know what I mean? Like it just sort of reinforced kind of an idea that I had going in. And I
Right.
think I only watched it because a male in my life at the time wanted to watch it too. I don't know, friend or romantic partner or what. But anyway, the point is, I don't know. Like I just, I'm just going to give it a 4.5 Brodo dude.
You sound
Cool, brother
so
dude.
sad about that.
I feel like, is it fair? Is it fair for me to evaluate it with 2020 eyes and to have this feeling about it? Like it shouldn't bear it is less deserving than a lot of other movies for bearing the brunt of my frustration with gatekeepers in Hollywood, right?
Right.
It's not the Coen brothers' fault.
I mean, a little maybe.
I mean, a little, sure, yeah. I mean, they certainly have made the most of the opportunities they've gotten. I feel a little bit less irritated by them than I do the director of Transformers,
Sure.
who I can never remember his name and I refuse to. So
Okay, great.
you're welcome. So yeah, right. They're people. They're artists. They make great work. They don't
Yeah.
need me to be sitting in my living room complaining about them not being particularly aware of women in a movie that's literally about a guy called the Dude. So, like, right? Like, they're not up nights thinking about this.
But also sometimes check yourselves, CoBros.
Yeah.
They got some shit for one of their projects.
And I mean, we haven't even got
it.
into the like how white it is. I mean, it is so white.
It is.
Yeah.
Like,
Hashtag the dude's so white.
Hashtag
yeah.
big white Lebowski. White.
mean-
Leb-
Well,
The big
Caucasian.
Lebowski.
And is Caucasian another name for Russian?
white Russian.
Yeah.
White Russian? It
Yeah.
is. Well,
Think about
maybe
those Caucasus Mountains.
maybe, yeah. So maybe it's all very intentional. Maybe it's also commentary on white people. That's stretching.
I don't think it's intentionally a commentary on white people, but it is definitely a commentary on white people.
It is. It is. So anyway, I feel like 4.5 is great.
Great. Welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry, Beth. I feel like if
For
we're
what?
true friends, I'd give it a 5.
I gave it a 4.5.
Why are you
Well-
apologizing to just Beth?
Because Beth matters more than you two do.
We have
My
the same
God.
score, and you don't even acknowledge that.
Wow.
I
my
welcomed you into having the
goodness.
same score as me, and you barely acknowledged it.
I remember years ago
Ooh, here
when we
go.
watched Apollo, whatever number it
13.
is,
13.
and I got dogpiled on, which is fine because send robots to space first. But that episode ended with you claiming we were all your 5 moon friends.
Yes.
And now
Five
I'm
moon
finding
friends.
out
Perhaps.
You're
that
4.5 moon friends.
Whoa.
I'm a waning gibbous
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
of a
Not a
friend.
Beth Gibbous.
Ah.
That was my head exploding. That was amazing. La 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 la.
Totes Recall is hosted by Molly Chase, Beth Gibbs, Dan Jaquette, and Dan Linden. Produced by Beth Gibbs. New episodes of Totes Recall drop on the 15th of every month. For more information and bonus content, visit us at totesrecall.com. Thank you so much for listening.